Welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry, aka the episode 5 of the Witch's Tea Party, or the tea party made by the Unhuman, or the sort. I don't know. So last time where I left off, there wasn't really actually there was some really important stuff in which I tried to like understand the concept of it of the Noxus Decalogue, and what I remember. A lot of the times, I usually think that the Noxus Decalogue was used as a weapon, and so they down or during the when Battler tried to whatchamacallit, step in and defend Beatrice's honor, and when Beatrice tried to defend Natsuki's honor as well, which both are kind of like I feel like both Battler and Beatrice are kind of like two peas in a pod. Well, both have like different like um, that have their own struggles and hardships to go through. But I feel like the Noxus Decalogue was weaponized to make the whole game be difficult, to cause it like a really big disadvantage. But however, for what it was discussed, feels like it was like, wait, maybe there is a possibility. But it's hard to tell whether Beatrice's game's either orthodox or unorthodox. So type of a game of the sort. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things in which I want to go back and reread at some point. So yeah, it was like Noxus Decalogue of understanding of it, in which it didn't really show in like during episode 5, but it's like this one is a scene I didn't even see, so it looks like maybe Battler's gonna, you know. And the thing is, if they cut it off from there, then why did Battler play dumb? You know. So yeah, let's continue. When I tried to bring back a proper mood for our tea party in the rainy golden land by clumsily searching for a more noble subject, Vergilius saw right through me and laughed. Oh, because they used like romance as part of an analogy. Even amidst this, Beato kept looking downwards with those gray eyes, staring into her black tea. Yeah, that's right. Vergilia and Dalinor have given me so many hints, and yet I barely thought about it at all. Wait, so they by now it's all too. Wait, if those two gave them so many hints before Battler started to defend Beato's honor, then why didn't he? God, he had so much time to prep, though. By now it's all too late. Well, I like had a hint, and it was like, by now it's all too late. Let me think. Now that everything is too late already, and I've got an endless amount of time on my hands, let me think. One more time, let me think about the red truths Vergilia gave me, and the crutch of the Decalogue that Dalinar lent me. With the red truths, Vergilia guaranteed that at the very least, Beato left enough room in this tale for me to achieve victory. That red truths guarantee will once again give me the power to start my heart beating. And there's the crutch of the Decalogue, which Dalinar lent me. This music, though, is called One. Does this mean we are ramping it up? Dalinar herself warned me in the beginning that the Decalogue isn't so almighty that it can solve all riddles. However, she said something about how it could be used as a method to solve, no, to take on riddles. As a method. Let me try it. Though there's no guarantee that this tale is mystery or fantasy, let me believe that I'll definitely be able to solve it, that it is a solvable tale, a mystery, and let me take it on one last time. When I came to, I was suddenly in that strange tea room where I'd often argued furiously with Beato from across that table. Of course, Beato was nowhere to be found. It was just me, isolated and alone. That's okay. Even so, I won't stop thinking. Okay then, what were Nox's commandments again? I'm sure Dalinar explained most of them were slamming me with them. Of course, even if I recall them vaguely, what was the first one again?
謹んで申し上げる。ノックス第一条。犯人は物語当初の登場人物以外を禁ず。
It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story. When I muttered about what the first one was, as if answering my question, Dalinar's subordinate appeared. Without bothering with an unnecessary hello, she told me nothing more or less than what I wanted to know.
そうだったな。
It is forbidden to talk about the culprit not mentioned earlier in part of the story.
第一条。犯人は物語の最初から登場している人物でなければならない。
It has to be one of the people mentioned in the early part of the story. In other words, the culprit must have already appeared as early as the first game? True, that's the most basic of basics in the mystery genre. A classic assumption. A classic assumption? Have I really been keeping to that assumption? With each new game, the number of people in this tale keeps increasing. That violates the closed circle rule. By that point, everything gets screwed up. Did I give up on the inside? Thinking that the true culprit or mastermind must not have shown up yet? That reasoning was therefore useless? If I read this tale as a fantasy, new characters keep showing up, to the point where even having demon kings or gods or creators appear wouldn't be strange at all. Even if the true mastermind first appears in one of the last episodes, I'd have to accept it. However, if I read it as a mystery and stick with that conviction, then there's no need to worry at all about anyone who shows up later, because Nox's first clearly states that it's impossible for the culprit to be anyone who appears later on in the story. It makes me wonder. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the story. Of course, there's also what both Dalinar and Vergilius said. There's no guarantee that this tale follows the rules of the Decalogue. So of course, I can't deny the possibility that the culprit first appeared in the second game or later on. However, this is one way of thinking. This time, I'll forget about the devil's proof completely and try to borrow the power of the Decalogue in my thinking. After all, I've already said it myself that I won't be able to reach the truth without a multi-angled outlook.
なら何度も繰り返されたこのゲームの犯人は全て18人の中の誰かだってことになる。
The culprit in all of these repeating games is one of the 18.
19人目の幻想なんて初めから必要ない。
Even the first of Nox's commandments denies the existence of an unknown person known as the Witch from the very start. If I had followed that in the truest sense, I might not have suffered so miserably in the second game.
ノックスの第2条は
謹んで申し上げたてまつる。
I thought it was going to be Gertrude, but it's Cornelia.
ノックス第2条。探偵方法に超自然能力の使用を禁ず。
Dalinar's other subordinate appeared without a sound and gave me an answer to my question. That's right. A detective can't go around using magic. It is forbidden for supernatural agencies to be employed as a detective technique. So no magecraft or some stupid bullshit like that. Using magic.
そしてこれがフェアな戦いであるならば、探偵と同様に犯人もまた魔法を使ってはならないということだよな。
謹んで申し上げる。解釈は自由と知りたまえ。
Know that you're free to interpret it as you please. Huh. The culprit also isn't allowed to use magecraft.
だよな。ああ。俺の自由に解釈させてもらうぜ。
If this game is a battle between me and Beato, then because this tale is solvable, no elements will appear that make it impossible to solve. When there is a will, there is a way. In other words, things like magic mustn't appear. When they do appear, I shouldn't suspect that the mystery element is breaking down, but I should instead question why it was shown and suspect the witnesses and the observers. That's right, that was Beato's greatest weapon in the second game. Depictions of magic which couldn't exist in a mystery, by showing me that she forced me to think that this tale wasn't a mystery, and therefore that reasoning was impossible, so I surrendered. However, if I had believed unshakably that it was a mystery, it would have been completely obvious to doubt the witnesses who claimed to have seen magic. Also, at the end of the first game, it was revealed that this tale was passed on to people in the future by that message model. Yeah, that is true. It was written by the message model. I think it was written by Maria. Someone had written about this crime, this tale. In other words, this entire tale is a world that includes the personal opinions of an observer, namely, the person who wrote that message in the model. In other words, the observer isn't God, it's a human. Therefore, there's no guarantee that this description is truly impartial. By the end of the first game, it was already clear that we've broken the constant premise of the mystery genre, that the story itself must be seen through the eyes of God. For that reason, it's possible to doubt even the observer, as well as the witnesses. Possible to doubt the observer and the witnesses. If I could have doubted this much, then no matter how many seemingly unsolvable displays of magic, I wouldn't have had to blindly accept them and give up. However, that begs the question, is it even possible to solve a tale written by an observer who isn't impartial? If I get obsessed with this, all my reasoning will end here. However, I had to believe. I had to believe that Beato was trying to fight me through this tale. Because it's a fight, that means I've been given a chance of winning. By giving me that, doesn't that mean that reasoning is possible? This part is tough. Unless I believe that the cruel wish took on the risk of losing to try and have a fair fight with me, I can't get past this part. Just like Virgilia said, it's just like love. If I can't believe that Beato is fighting me head-on with everything she's got, I won't be able to reason any further than this. Sure, I'll acknowledge it. Unless we acknowledge that we love each other, we won't be able to get any further. When Virgilia ran out of patience with the two of us, shy and incapable as we were of acknowledging that out loud, she gave me that red truth instead. That was the red truth saying, Beato wanted me to solve the riddles of this game, so she created them in order to be solvable. Riddles of this game, so like the epitaph and such. What the hell? It's like Sato-san in Class A says he likes you. Sato. Is that a reference to a character I remember? I don't recall. Like hearing a love confession via a friend. Sato. I'm not. I feel like it could be like, I don't know if it's just an NPC or just like he's referencing a character from another. I don't recall. Via a friend. I really am pitiful. Alright, I heard some noise in the back for a moment there. I really am pitiful. Reasoning is love. If we don't love each other, the reasoning won't start. In that case, how can we say that we love each other? If you think you can solve it, just you try. You're incompetent, like hell you can solve it. Yeah, according to George Aniki, people like that are called Tsundora. Wait, Tsundora? I'm actually curious what that. See, I know what the Tsundora means. I mean, I know what the Tsundere means, but I don't know anything about the Tsundora. Definition. So within the Japanese dictionary, sharp and sarcastic without ever being acting love struck. Tsundora. See, I know characters that are the Tsunderes, but I don't really. I know I've watched enough anime to tell like which one is whether they're the Tsundere or not, but I don't remember having that kind of thing though. Maybe I might keep this in mind though. I mean, I know Beatrice is like pretty she had a bit of a snooty thing about her. I guess technically it's kind of like that, right? According to... That's an interesting characteristic though. That's, you know what? Out of all the, never in my whole life since I watched anime I actually knew about that, to be quite honest. That brutal witch is finally starting to look a bit cute. If I meet her again, I want to try saying you're such a Tsundere. If I meet her again, somewhere.
"他の実会も教えてくれ。純不動でいいぜ。使えそうなやつを頼む。
謹んで申し上げる。ノックス第8条。提示されない手がかりでの解決を禁ず。
Forbidden for the case to be resolved with clue. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with the clues that were not presented.
謹んで申し上げる。ノックス第6条。探偵方法に偶然と第6巻の使用を禁ず。
It is forbidden to use an accident or intuition to be employed as a detective technique. So he's given hints to where he like violated earlier. It must not be solved with clues that aren't presented. And it must not be solved by relying on an accident or coincidence. If this tale is made to be solvable, we can read this the opposite way. In other words, clues must be prepared so that the case can be solved, and it has to be made in a way that it can be solved without relying on coincidence. If I can believe that Beato is challenging me to a fair game where reasoning is possible, then I can be sure of that. In other words, Beato has already left me clues, hints, and messages in this tale. It isn't from the Decalogue, but Erica or someone said this. There are 3 riddles to be exposed in a mystery. One is the whodunit. Who is the culprit? One is the howdunit. How did they commit the crime? So who is the culprit? How did they commit it? One is the why done it. why did they commit the crime in the first place? Who is the culprit, and how did they do it, and then why did they commit it? All this means that clues related to these three riddles are already present inside this tale. No, strictly speaking, it's like this. Because she wanted me to solve these three riddles, Beato scattered hints about. Though whether I'm capable of catching those or not is another matter. Even if you think a riddle you propose is easy, it might be difficult for the person trying to solve it. Well, it's difficult for the readers trying to solve it, though. In that case, it's only natural that there would be a difference in how difficult each person finds it. Therefore, as Beato goes through each successive game, she watches me closely and tweaks the game as needed to get a good arrangement. When Beato realized that I completely surrendered in the second game because it was too hard, she secretly worried. If I surrendered and lost the will to fight, the game would no longer remain on an even footing. Therefore, in order to make me regain my will to fight, from the third game onwards, she set things up in a way that made it easier for me, giving me tips on how to fight, and a few hints. Virgilia and Ronove obviously appeared so that they could help me. Ooh, epic battle. Though we still had the usual crazy magic shows, she gave me the metaphor of the Brawn Tube trial, as well as tips on how to fight back. I finally understood how to fight, and most likely, at the end of the fourth game, Beato managed to have the all-out showdown with me that she had probably wanted. Then, Beato acknowledged that my abilities had become full-fledged, and entrusted me with her heart. Entrusted me with explaining this tale, didn't she? In that case, it was really dumb of me to boycott most of the fifth game, just because I was so disgusted with those two witches. It doesn't matter who the game master is. All I need to search for the truth in Beato's game. All I need is to search for the truth in Beato's game. On the contrary, I should probably thank those two witches just a little for continuing the game in Beato's place, now that she's gone and left everything to me. Wait. So, Battler. So this is weird. So this is kind of a weird way of like this to describe like what tough love is from Beatrice to Battler in a way. So within like in within like the end of like the first episode and like during like second episode where Battler was like starting to give in. So I guess deep down when it comes to Beatrice, she's like, hmm, I'm really concerned about with what Battler what start Battler's attitude of giving up. So I decided to hire some more additional side characters to help you on how to play the game or something like that. And then like after Battler was like being like, fully confident, then it's like, oh, I'm I'm leading you to your responsibility and so on and so forth. But which is weird in the fifth game because so it's not just I it's hard to tell whether you should acknowledge whatchamacallit Burn Castle and Lambda Delta being charitable of taking part in Beato's plays. I mean, are they really that charitable for for those two characters to be take a hold of the game board? Because it looks like they're just embar making Beato an embarrassment out of spite, and then which Which really troubles Balor too, because I think Balor was trying to like pretend into Beatrice's place because she wanted to make a more of a fitting end that within her honor. Excuse me. So is Balor disgusted with the two witches because of how Natsuki was treated, or is he disgusted of dishonoring, um, ruining Beato's honor? Because it's either way. It's like could be either way. But I'm still leaning on the side that there's no way Natsuki's like it's like the fifth episode was making treating Natsuki as like she's subhuman, but in my eyes it's like I don't think she is. It's just an unfortunate year on a very unfortunate occasion. Now that she's gone and left everything to me. Of course, I doubt those evil witches were trying to do anything of the sort. Culprit, crime, the motive. The answers to those three ultimate riddles, the hints, must be scattered throughout the previously shown tales. It's probably a very faint light, like trying to find beads that have fallen onto a sandy beach. They're definitely there. However, they're so faint that unless I believe strongly, there's no way I'll be able to find them.
金家謹んで申し上げる。
なんだ。
物語を遡りたまえ。
Go back through the tale.
今の汝には真実のか弱き光を見逃さぬ目が与えられていると知れ。
今こそ物語を。
推理可能とは信頼関係の先にあるものと知りたてまつれ。
A trusting relationship is required.
ああ、知ってるぜ。いや、今ようやく気づいたかもしれない。
Are you sure? It's something that's been repeated over and over again throughout the tale. Persistently so.
愛がなければ真実は見えない。
Without love, the truth cannot be seen. Slowly, the tea room dissolved into darkness. Then, as though I was slowly sinking into a pitch-black sea, I passed through the crevice of the long journey I'd taken with Beato, and kept on falling and falling. It was a bizarre experience, like crossing over the boundary of sleep while still conscious. The several tales before became faint bubbles. No, were they small shining fragments? And were scattered like stars amidst the pitch-black sky. I kept sinking on and on to that sea. Look at all these past games. Man, all these past episodes, we're just venturing through and through. The tales up until now, one after another, Virgilius guided Dante to Mount Purgatory and brought him to the feet of the Eternal Lady who waited at the top, Beatrice. Therefore, the innermost depths lay not at the bottom, but at the peak of Mount Purgatory. The Eternal Lady had been waiting there for Dante the whole time. And then I knew. I finally reached the truth. To the depths, no. To the peak of Mount Purgatory. Idiot. You really are an idiot. Oh. Have we found the beacon of light that we waited for the whole time? Without love, the truth cannot be seen. This track is feels very emotional. He woke from the sleep of death, and bit by bit, his sense of pain came back to him. On Badler's face, which still looked up at the heavens as he hung there, pierced by the longsword, a suffering and alive expression gradually returned.
本当にバカだ。大バカだ。
Badler noticed. This whole time, Beato had been snuggling up against him, sleeping. And when he held her, he knew that it was not Beato, but her crumbling remains. So when Badler just tried to hold that form, as fragile as ash, then, just like a sandcastle made on the beach, washed away by a small wave, it fell apart and lost its form. At Badler's feet lay nothing but the ragged remnants of Beato's dress and a pile of ash. No, on top of that pile of ash, he could see something sparkling gold. It was the husk of a single gold butterfly, which had been torn to bits, and so Badler knew that I definitely reached the truth. So Badler knew that I've definitely reached the truth. However, I wasn't able to do it, while Beato still remained in this world. Beato.
ベアト、お前本当にバカだろ。俺はようやくお前の出題したこのふざけた謎の真相にたどり着いたんだぞ。
Finally reaching the truth of this crazy riddle he created.
お前のお望み通りにくじけずにとうとう最後までたどり着いたのに。なのになんでお前がそれを待てずにくじけちまったんだよ。お前はあんなにも信じてたんだろう。俺が絶対に真実に至ってくれるって。ならどうしてそれを俺と一緒に信じて待てなかったんだよ。永遠の拷問を強いていたのはお前じゃない。俺だ。俺がお前に過酷な拷問を強いた。そしてお前は最後まで抗い俺に訴え続け、そして俺はようやく岩になってたどり着いたってのに。 お前はもう待ってなくて手遅れになっちまったなんて。バカ野郎！どうしてお前が先にくじけちまうんだよ！
It's my fault. I forced her to endure this torture. In fact, she's been doing a wonderful job sticking through it for so long. Over and over and over again, he kept on protesting to me, and because I was so incompetent, it was as though I couldn't understand the truth.
バカ野郎！バカ野郎！お前の謎はさ、ひねりすぎなんだよ。どうしてもっと簡単に言えねえんだよ。バカ野郎！
This feels very sad. It's really hard to tell whether it's Beato's fault for making the riddles pretty difficult from the start, and then it took like so much to be incompetent to where we could find the answer behind all this. His scream of pain filled the sad cathedral. The sad witch wasn't able to communicate the truth to Battler. The sad man who wasn't able to understand the witch's truth. Battler's howl of anger and sadness rang out for that pair. The clock hung in the cathedral showed that it was 2400 hours on October 5th, 1986. Time was up for everything. You're kidding me. Don't set something like a time limit on this difficult riddle you're so proud of.
いや、わかるぜ。それほどのわずかな奇跡の中に、お前は祈ったんだよな。お前もじいさまと同じだったんだ。
You prayed for and bet on the power of a miracle. One so unlikely that it was totally impossible. Less likely than finding a bead you've dropped on a sandy beach. And that means I've now truly arrived at that miracle. However, your time didn't last long enough. If I had reached this point even a little sooner, if I could have seen the truth, even if it had been right before time was up, I might have been able to save you. But right now, I've been run through pathetically. I can't even hold what remains of you. As I attempted to pull the longsword out, I tried stretching out my arms and kicking my feet, struggling to at least touch your remains, but nothing worked.
くそー！ちくしょー！
At that time, I noticed a golden glint on the palm of my hand. It was a single wing from a gold butterfly. That small fragment of gold was the only piece of Beato that I was permitted to touch. I cried with all my strength, gripped that fragment and pressed it against my head, apologizing. Why couldn't I reach the truth earlier? Then I pressed it to my chest, promising that even now, I would never again lose the truth. When I pressed my hand against my chest, the sword piercing my chest cut my wrist and blood dribbled out. That blood spread throughout my fist, and it must have soaked that golden fragment with my red blood. It must have been the only way of telling her that I found the truth she wanted me to know about. I clutched the wing of the gold butterfly with my freshly bleeding hand and pressed it against the red sword that pierced me. At this point, Ushiromiya Battler knows, and he understands. He's found his tales, everything. At that time, it seemed as though a faint golden light leaked out of the gaps in his clenched fist. Oh, oh God, finally the sad music is over. I was about to cry there. The two witches had their backs turned, and Erica was laughing at Battler's corpse.
本当に無様ですね、バトラさん。あなたの愚かさを石像にして永遠に。え？
Her face changed. She's like, huh? It's like, not for long, bitch. At that time, Battler's chest, no, the red longsword that pierced Battler, began to sparkle gold from deep within his chest. The bright golden light began to change the red sword's color, turning it gold.
何事？バトラがこれは何？
Battler coughed up blood and groaned. His consciousness came back. His will to live, his will to fight, came back. The red longsword that pierced Battler could no longer be described as such. By now, it had become a golden longsword. Then, slowly, gradually, it pulled itself out of Battler's chest. It finally pulled itself free and started dancing through the air, then stood up in front of Battler's eyes as though it knew who its master was. Battler, crawling on the floor and moaning, grabbed the golden longsword, and though it looked painful, he slowly rose to his feet once again.
Teno konda enshitsu ne. これラムダの隠し玉？その輝きってまさか。
Lambda stared wide-eyed at that bright golden glow in awe. When she noticed that Battler's resurrection wasn't part of the script Lambda had thought up. Byrne also frowned slightly.
悪いわね。最新は却下よ。シエスタ姉妹、その復活幻想を削除しなさい。了解であります。45、410、発砲許可。それが照準不能。IFF エラーコード999。ヒュー。39だと。バカな。
Impossible. What the hell is this? The Chiestra sisters hesitated, unable to carry out Byrne Castle's orders.
ラムダ、これはどういう茶番よ。完全に魔女幻想は打ち破られて、法廷は私の勝利に終わったはずよ。
Just because it's destroyed and the trial ended with victory it still doesn't matter.
悪いわねベル。もう少し付き合ってもらうわ。そうでしょ後ろ宮バトラー。
Just because you want that to be over doesn't mean you still have you have so much immortality in your life that you have to stick around for more longer than this. So
ああ任せたなエリカ。ベルン・カステル、今度は俺の真実の番だぜ。
再審請求を受理するわ。魔女集会の幻想法廷の平定は撤回される。
異議提出。すでに裁判は結審し、判決は公示されている。
異議却下。
objection overruled.
いかなる判決も新たな真実の前にはかすむ。
異議提出。バトラはプレイヤーを追放されただけでなく魔女の地位を持たない。上告する資格を持たない。
異議却下。
Overruled.
もうね、あるのよ彼には。絶対の魔女ラムダデルタの名において認めるわ。後ろ宮バトラ、あなたを新たな黄金の魔女。
Just because Ballard does not hold the rank of a witch, it doesn't really stop him. He was able to hold the fragment of the one and only fragment that had remained of Beatrice.
いえ、無限の魔術師後ろ宮バトラと認めるわ。なんですって。
So she's like, what?
バトラが魔女の位を。
The rank of a witch, which she had desired for so long, had been granted to Ballard so quickly. And on top of that, this wasn't anything temporary. This was an official, proper authorization by Lambda Delta. Erica couldn't accept it and her face turned bright red. But, that's impossible! Ballard is just a mere human. How can you do this?
最後の最後まで楽しませてくれるわ。あの子のゲームは。いいわ、付き合ってあげる。エリカ、受けて立ちなさい。あなたが私と築き上げた赤き真実は完璧よ。
Oh damn, Burn. She's not having that shit eating green. Burn Castle's not having that shit eating grin this time. She's actually mad.
夏日が犯人であるとする真実の構築は完璧だわ。
She is actually mad.
絶対にバトラには崩せない。無論です、我が主。何の心配もありません。それよりシエスタ姉妹、我が主は射殺を命じていますよ。いつになったら命令は実行されるんですか？
エラーコード39。領主小獣には解除コードが必要です。だからあいつはやると言ったに。
領主？誰が？
The Territory Lord? Who the fuck? What? Hold on. An access code is required to target the what territory, Lord? Are they referring to Lambda or are they referring to...
このかけらの支配者は誰？私です。
領主、まさかバトラが。
はい。後宮バトラーはこのかけらの正当な領主と認定されているであります。
ええ、そうよ。まだわからないの？あの黄金の輝きの意味が。バトラーはね、至ったのよ。すべての真実の最新王にね。
The innermost depths of all truths. Oh shit. A fucking miracle.
だからバトラーは今やこの世界の物語のゲームのすべてを理解している。それはつまりゲームの支配者の地位を得たということよ。
The position of the game's master.
それを信じたくないでしょ、ベル。
信じたくもない。いいわ。バトラが本当に全てを理解したのか試してあげるわ。エリカ。
残念ね、エリカ。せっかくこのかけらの領主に任命されたところだけれど、それを剥奪するわ。このかけらの新しい領主は後宮バトラよ。悔しい？ねえねえ、悔しい？せっかく領主になれたのにいきなり剥奪ってどんな気持ち？どんな気持ち？
You know, this is the one thing I... Holy fuck. Imagine your own fucking titles get... Imagine your own fucking title that you wanted is getting cucked by someone who was incompetent. Oh, Jesus Christ. That is funny as shit. Reminds me of...
Your response to me indicates you have feelings on this matter.
私の推理を否定できるものならしてみればいいでしょ。
Oh shit, she's mad.
そんなことは不可能。不可。
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 12 times of impossible.
私の構築した推理に隙はありません。ナツヒが犯人であることは否定不能。
Even though Battler is incompetent, you know, he is not. He has to build a trusting relationship. He's got to create the steps to it, you know. So I guess the Noxus Decalogue isn't like weaponized within bad faith. I guess within the Noxus Decalogue, you have to. It seems that you have to understand it.
俺は夏日おばさん以外が犯人である推理を構築できる。確かにお前の真実は否定不能かもしれない。 ならば同時にお前の真実は俺の新しい真実も否定できない。
Battler spoke with the red truth allowed him by his stat. He spoke with the red truth allowed him by his status as a sorcerer.
夏日以外が犯人で？
He can construct a theory with someone other than Natsuki as the culprit.
どうやって？ドラノール、バトラさんの妄言に付き合ってあげてください。
Slowly, Dalinar stepped forwards. In her hand was the red longsword of the Decalogue. She also had a blue short sword. In Battler's hand was a golden longsword. The two rivals once again know for the first time they truly confronted each other.
バトラー、待っていました。
Yes, the fight has resumed!
待たせたな。
いいえ、
What?
あなたの帰りは私の予想より早かったです。
殺しなさい、ドラノール A ノックス！
Dalinar's form disappeared in an instant, as though her slow, dignified movements from before were only a lie. The curve drawn by the longsword of Red Truth burned itself into the retinas of those who saw it. Before anyone had enough time to follow that curve, it was already approaching Battler's chest.
エリカ卿の推理により第5のゲームは解決しました。この推理による真実を覆す新事実は存在しません。
他の解釈で異なる真実の提示が可能だ。異なる真実の並列により両者の真贋を問う。
It's possible. Wait. Erica already solved this, so that means no new facts exist. However, it's possible to present a different truth using a different. Holy shit. When denied by the power of gold. In this closed off world, it's possible for differing truths to exist at the same time. Furthermore, as long as multiple truths exist, it's impossible to claim that any of the truths are the single truths. Yes, that's right. You can't let the fucking narrative control you. All the narratives into one. In other words, even if I can't overturn Erica's reasoning by questioning its credibility and conquering it, I can defeat it.
ベルンの推理は完璧よ。簡単には覆せない。でもね、ベルンの推理と互角の推理を提示できたなら戦いは氷結となる。すなわちいずれかの真実は打ち破られて否定されることがあり得る。
笑わせる脚本だわ。悪魔の脚本はやはりこうでなくっちゃ。
では問いましょう。夏日以外の誰が犯人という仮説ですか？
The theory is someone other than Natsuki as the culprit. Battler's golden longsword drew both red and blue curves at will.
夏日おばさんの告白した19年前の赤ん坊による復讐で構築可能だ。
ノックス第1条。犯人は物語当初の登場人物以外は禁ず。第5のゲームより登場した人物に犯人は名乗れません。
That is true.
その19年前の赤ん坊は最初から俺たちの中にいるとしたら、
That I didn't know.
例えばそれが俺だとしたら
What if Battler was doing? What if what? Yes, Battler was adopted. What the shit? What the fuck? What the absolute fuck?
ノックス第8
That was so Battler was murdering people as a prank.
提示されない手がかりでの解決を禁ず。
I thought I was joking.
あなたが19年前の赤ん坊であることを示す伏線はあったのですか？
第4のゲームにおける俺が母親アスムの息子でないとする赤き真実。第1のゲームおよび今回のゲームにおける親父の隠し事の気配。特に今回のゲームで俺の生まれに何か事情があることをはっきり明示している。
Rudolph is a bit of a shady man.